Fermentation is a very important process in alchemy through which the vital essence of a material is released into a new medium for which we can capture. In herbal alchemy, it is always preferable to use the plants or mercury instead of that derived from another source such as grain alcohol. Although the mercury of a kingdom is the same throughout the kingdom, isolating it in this very purified form is very difficult. Each type of alcohol carries with it some of the subtle sulfur of the plant from which it was distilled. In many of the beginning works of herbal alchemy and for general use, an alcohol derived from wine is preferable, suitable. However, for some of the more advanced works, it will be necessary to obtain the alcohols from the particular plant one is working with. Winemaking is an art unto itself, and more than we can detail here. You can explore this in many places online, so we will only touch on a few guidelines for alchemical work. The ideal is to add nothing foreign to the plant, that is, no other yeast or sugar or nutrients other than what the plant itself supplies. The general procedure is to place the fresh or dry plant into a large container that can be sealed. If you're using plant materials that have been steamed to collect the sulfur, the natural yeasts of the plant are going to be inactive, so you will have to add a handful of the plant that did not get steamed. Cover the plant matter with enough water to make it very liquid. Say 5 to 10 times the volume of solids and stir it around very well. Now stopper the vessel tightly, but leave a small piece of tubing necessary running out of the top and into a small container of water. This is called a fermentation lock. Fermentation is anaerobic, that is, it proceeds without air contact. However, there is release of carbon dioxide gas, which can bubble out of the tube without air getting in. Fermentation can take days or weeks to complete, so place the vessel into a warm place at about 30 degrees Celsius and watch for the bubbling to stop. When the bubbling and foaming action has stopped, filter the liquid out and seal for use. You can proceed immediately to distillation in order to obtain the mercury or let the wine age for a while first. Remember to save the plant residue for calcination and recover of the salt, and also save the liquid from which you distill the mercury. This liquid is evaporated to a thick honey-like consistency, then calcinated to obtain the solid sulfur of the plant. More of that will be discussed when we talk about calcination in this video. In practice, you might find necessary to deviate from the ideal and add a small amount of wine yeast and sugar to those plants that seem to refuse to ferment easily. We have to add that for fermentation, if you find it necessary to add yeast to initiate it, try adding a handful of red grapes, which still have the white powdery coating of natural yeast on the skins, into a cupful of warm water. Shake it around for a while, then decant the water, which now contains some of the grape yeast, into the plant water mixture you wish to ferment. This will act as a starter to initiate fermentation. Sublimation is a term used to denote the rarefaction of a material, and that it is often applied to liquid or solid materials in alchemy, as most commonly refers to action on a solid body. There are some solids you will come upon in alchemy which are purified by sublimation. These materials go from the solid state to a vapor without passing through a liquid state, and the vapor returns to the solid state upon contact with the cool surface. Alchemically, the body opens and the finer parts ascend. These are captured by a cool condensing surface in an exultant form. Most notable are many of the ammonia-based salts. Cummingware casseroles work well for this. Place the matter to be sublimated in a layer on the bottom of one casserole, then cover with a second casserole that is inverted. Gently heat the bottom and the sublimate will collect on the upper surfaces. The final sublimation temperature will depend on the matter you're sublimating, and it can range from near room temperature to full red heat. Sublimation is the reason your ice cubes disappear if left for long periods in the freezer, and form the basis for freeze-drying materials. As you can see here, you can see how ice sublimates, melts in water, and evaporates into steam, and then the sublimates will be from steam condensing to water, and from water solidified to ice. And this is the cycle of sublimation.